Yeah, and then 1, 2, 4, 6.
All right, and guys, we are here. We are back. And I am your judge today. I know you're used to me being on the other side. I am your judge, your boy Q. And I'm actually really excited to introduce our new counselor on the bench over there, a homie of mine, the Mad Hatter, Stony Boy. How you doing, homie?
I'm doing great. What up? What up? What up? What up? Thanks for having me on, man. I'm really looking forward to this, and can't wait to get started, man. It's gonna be some great DVD action today, man. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got 4 good trials of one matchup. We've got Hex Girls versus We Overslept. Now, of course, the one thing that everybody always wants to wonder whenever we get to this point, we know who's playing, what map are we going to be playing on. So let's go ahead and roll right down into it. We're going to be going to the Temple of Purgation. We're going to be purgating all over this temple. 156 square tiles, 9,984 square meters. For those of you guys wondering what in the world does that actually mean, that means we have an 8 hook minimum, 12 hook maximum. Nice little spread. One thing I would say definitely with the Temple of Purgation, right? We do see a lot. There's some longer loops that you can work, right? Like outside of the, not just like the big building, but just outside the big building, pretty much on all 4 sides. You have those like short wall, long tiles, and I'll be interested to see how not only our survivors manage those, but if our killers, how much time do they waste in some of those chases, right?
Yeah, the killer counterplay is actually really crucial on that map. It's actually one of my favorite maps as a Huntress main, just because you have those long alleyways and you can still get Huntress over that, get your hatchets over some of those mid-tier walls. And it's really going to be interesting to see, how the killers respond to, and if the survivors use the map to their advantage, because it's actually one of the more balanced maps out there in the fog recently.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gives you some interesting things to work around, right? So it's not like your typical McMillan or Auto Haven realms where you have a lot of your typical jungle gyms, TNLs. You got a couple here and there. But the big thing with the Temple of Purgation is it is a little bit of a bigger map, so you tend to see like a lot of the killers. They'll kind of pick a zone early, right? They kind of pick a 3, 4, sometimes even a 5 gen, depending on what kind of RNG you do get, and kind of pick an area to defend. Now, one thing that's going to be interesting here is, of course, with it being in the preseason, right now, all of the killers on the board. Normally, you'd have to worry about what killers have been used by what team, and I would imagine Temple of Purgation is typically going to be one of those maps that we'll see a lot more of like the like mid-tier killers come out, just because I don't think this is a map that you can like flex a nurse on, right? It's not a map that you can like flex a blight on, versus where maybe you would use those more on like a suffocation pit or Azarov resting place.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Nurse is scary no matter what map that you're on, but you're absolutely right. I mean, we love to see a Trapper. Maybe we'll get one of those, you never know, but I'm really interested in seeing what they're going to bring to the table, and they got a really good map if they know how to work it correctly, and really excited to get this going, man. So let's get it going. Like, let's go.
Yeah, always interesting to see, right? Especially with we've seen during the preseason thus far that some teams are coming out and they're like putting their best foot forward. They are coming out with like a S tier killer. We've even seen on some of the corn maps. We saw Blight come out, even though it's not necessarily his map, but they're like, hey, I've got a preseason map. Let me bring out an S tier killer. And then we've also seen some teams, come out and they've used this almost as like an extra live scrim, like live practice, like the best of live reps that you can get, and use those to practice some of your B tier killers. And sometimes we've seen the results not be exactly what you'd like, and we've seen a 4K with the Nemesis. We've seen a couple 4Ks with Oni. So I'll be really interested to see what comes out here. I do think since it's the last week of Season 2, we'll probably see at least one S-tier killer, though, from each team.
I'm really excited for it, and I'm kind of looking forward, like I mentioned before, I'm a Huntress main, so I'm really kind of hoping that somebody brings out a Huntress, because I'd love to see Huntress shine. Like, I absolutely would love to. But another one that I think, especially with the size of the map, mainly for zone control, like you mentioned, working those last 3 gens would be a Doctor, personally, because I feel as if his map pressure and the way that you can control and set the tone for the map would actually be probably a really good choice.
Yeah.
And they're always entertaining to watch. Like, it's always entertaining to watch a Doctor mid-loop, make a survivor scream.
Right.
They go for the pallet and they get robbed on it because they're mid-animation. Like, and Doctor's not one of those killers that you immediately think of a tournament. So maybe we'll get lucky, So personally, I'm rooting for a Huntress or a Doctor to come out here and show the temple exactly what it's like.
Yeah, I think both of those would actually be really good picks, and especially because Huntress is one of those that I think we've kind of solidified her spot in like that first three after the top three, like not necessarily like the meta, but I would say the Twins have kind of started slowly moving up there, especially in like EU and Russia, but now slowly moving it way into the NA scene as well. Twins has kind of moved up there, but Huntress has always been up there. But I agree a lot. I actually really like the point that you made as far as the Doctor having the ability to shut down some of those longer tile loops that we do see on Temple of Purgation by being able to use the shock there to kind of prevent them from throwing that pallet. Plus, you also get a little bit of like built-in in-game slowdown, right? Because once you're absolutely crazy, you've got to stop and help yourself a little bit, right?
I see you catching yourself there. Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that I think, again, like a lot of people, they kind of overlook that killer when it comes to tournaments. But in my mind, it just kind of, especially when you bring in other perks, etc., and you make it so that you're causing gen regression, you're causing game slowdown. So absolutely, Doctor 100% has natural born game slowdown 100%. I would also be kind of interested to see if somebody brought out a Wraith. You mentioned higher level killers. I think Wraith kind of, he's got, just because of the speed, definitely, some of the LT walls would definitely, a good killer with Wraith, is not going to really be bothered with it whatsoever. But again, we just got to wait and see what these teams that, are going to come out with their best foot, or if they're just going to kind of coast through. We have 4 matches. So, we get to kind of wait and see and just see how the survivors are going to react. And, the only thing that I'm hearing is I ain't got enough popcorn for this event personally.
Indeed. Did I nail it, chat? No. But yeah, I would definitely agree. The one thing though, I would say, as far as I think maybe during the season itself, maybe seeing a Wraith coming out on a map like this just because of the sheer size and obviously the movement speed. But again, with it being, season 2 of preseason, I would imagine we're going to see probably one of your, typical S tier like meta killers, and then something maybe it is one of those next 3, or maybe somewhere in the middle, maybe even a clown, because I feel like a clown could do good, like shutting down around that big loop as far as with the gas. Not necessarily a map you'd bring him on like a lot of other times, but you do have the ability to shut down loops and traverse the map quickly with his yellow smoke.
There is somebody that we're not mentioning, and that's Ghostface, because Ghostface on this map can actually play in a very surprising way. And I know a lot of people just went, wait, this guy just said Ghostface? What do you mean? Trust me, Ghostface does have a lot of capabilities, because you can get that expose factor and you can actually create that 3-gen situation so easily with Ghostface, and especially on a map like this. Like that's definitely a killer that once again, that I would hope to see. I mean, if we do see a Twins out here, I really hope them the best pounces that they are readily available to. I hope you never miss. And that would actually be really, really interesting to see, because, Twins, like you said, is starting to make a resurface. When Twins first came out, obviously, it had that blowback, but I really feel as if Twins is one of those like diamond in the rough killers that is either, you're really good, or, it's one of those like, man, I wish I could, but like it takes skill to do so. It'd be really, really cool to see a Twins, possibly straight out of the gate. That would be really, really interesting.
Yeah, that's a really good point there, actually, because we have seen, we saw Solar Blazer come out in week 1 for the Arctic Wolves and actually do just that, right? Like came out with the killer that like normally isn't a meta killer. They came out with the Twins, had a very impressive performance, and now when teams are when they see Arctic Wolves come up on the roster, now you're like, okay, now not only do I have to worry about Spirit, Nurse, and Blight, but now I got to worry about something like Twins, which is why maybe we can see if they do something similar. Would you be able to do me a favor and take a look in that tab and let me know if maybe we're about ready to start off? I do see a lot of people readying up here, so let's
here we are.
Let's switch over here. We're going to switch into that survivor, or into that spectator role. We're going to be moving into trial number 1, but before we do, let's talk as far as our rules for our killer here. Talk about how our killers are going to be able to score some points. The first and second hook each are worth 2 points. The third hook is going to be worth 3 points. If you do happen to have any progressions, that is going to be 1 less point. If you happen to get 7 and 8 progressions throughout the total of the trial, you get a bonus point for each of those. And if you do accrue a 4K, we will see an additional 2 points there as well. Now, if there is an entity kill In the end game, you will get the corresponding hook plus progressions. However, keep in mind, if we happen to have a bleed out, it equals to 0. So that is a way for our survivors to be able to kind of have some counterplay once they are on the ground and take some points away from our killers, because there are a total of 30 points available to our killers here. If you have any questions as far as anything else as far as the rules, feel free to use !rules in chat here. And now we are getting ready to load into trial number 1. Super excited. Are you ready, Stoney?
Oh, I'm so ready. I am so ready. So ready. Let's get this, man.
So we
Let's
will
get it.
hope that we
I
have got
cannot wait to
everything
see what
set
this
right.
first killer is personally. Like I'm really kind of actually hoping, like, we had the twins there. I was thinking it was just a holder, but I'm really kind of hoping that that killer actually goes with twins, because I'd love to see right out of the gate just see Victor flying across the map at somebody, because honestly, it's just one of the funniest things ever. It's just hearing them. So let's get into it.
All right, and we do see actually coming out, it is
Oh,
the
we got a
Blight.
blight. We have a blight straight off, and he's running corrupt, definitely. So let's see. Ooh, we immediately have the first one. They're at a pallet. Drops it, trades it. Hit validation is indeed a thing, and they're staying with it. They're staying. Oh, you're getting screwed. You're getting. Oh, hello. Where'd it go? Where did you go? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Where did you go? And was that probably? I think he just couldn't flick hard enough. It seemed like he got a little bit out of control there with his last rush. Probably should have just swung, but let's see if he can recover from this. So he's got 1 hurt so far. The Claudette's hurt. We have, is anybody here on a gen? Yes, it does indeed look like we have somebody on a gen here. We're doing a run. It looks like we have the Nia, and easy hit. Now let's see what he's going to do with it. Is he actually going to manage to get it down here, or what's going to happen? And
Ooh.
oh, what a beautiful dead hard to save the day for Nia. Let's see if it's enough space. What are they going to do here at Shack? Immediate drop of Shack Pallet. Wow, that's not something that you see every day, but that's all right. Nice moonwalk here. Let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah, definitely keep in mind, right? We do sometimes see our pallets thrown a little bit more
True.
viciously in comp, right?
So close with that hit. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You throw the pallet because the gens are getting done quick. Over into the corner. He's wasting a lot of that Blight's time. There's that gen pop. I was honestly thinking that it was going to pop a little bit earlier than that, but that actually was probably a really good play on that Nia. Just get the killer over into a corner. All right, so first hook, 1 gen. Corrupt is still up, so he's in a decent position, but he's got to get back across that map. He's got to go put some gen pressure back on the map, and that's the beautiful thing with Blight is you can get across the map very, very quickly. Nobody over here. He's going back to go see what's on the other side. He looked like he was going back to the hook, but I guess he's going to go see what the rest of his gens are looking like.
Yeah, it actually sounds like he hears somebody down low. We've got a little bit of pressure here. We've got an injured Claudette with a down there as well. Hit through the pallet.
Love to see it. Good reaction on the Blight, definitely. That was a fair pallet to drop as well. You love to see it. Woo, man, we got some nonstop action right here. We still have somebody on a hook, so we possibly have a 2-hook situation. They've really got to get off of some gens here and get that person off of the hook. Otherwise, they're going to have a hard time with a 3v1. There they go immediately. As I'm mentioning it, they're doing it. You love to see it. All right, so 2 hooks, 1 gen still. And he's going back to the hook to put some pressure on. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, we do see Blight able to make the way back to the corner here, right? Able to put a little bit more pressure and trying to work on a snowball here. So you definitely seen a lot. Love to see it.
Yep, going right back for the Nia. And was that? No, Nia dead hard is straight underneath the hit. You love to see it. You love to see it. Beautiful use of the dead hard by this Nia. Absolute mastery of it. And seems to be another whiff. Very, very close. He's really getting close with these late hits here when it comes to the rush. Drops the pallet. Pretty smart play. Wastes a little bit of time. Creates some distance here. Let's see how much Nia actually got. Is he dropping Nia? Yeah, he seems to be dropping Nia. He's going back down towards the basement. He's going back over towards this other hook here. And I'm seeing nobody.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of the important thing, right? We've gotten the 2 fresh hooks thus far, but we haven't been able to secure a second hook. So We have noticed a couple of times whenever we've been able to put pressure onto gens, we've seen those sparks fly, meaning that we do have ruin. We see the play down here. It looks like Claudette's full sending.
Think it through and commit, commit, commit. You love to see it. You love to see the commitment. Sticks through. Now there's only 2 gens left. Somebody else is here. Somebody else is here. So he's got to be careful. Make sure there's not going to be a Sabo play on his hook, but it looks like he's going to actually concrete it. So that is 2 hooks, second stage. He's almost to a kill. Definitely got to put some more gen pressure on. And he's looking for that other survivor. He's looking for whoever made those scratch marks when he was on his way to the hook. Breaks the pallet. Very, very smart play. You definitely got to get rid of those pallets as soon as they drop, just so they have less to work with and less to deny you on. And it looks like he's after a Michaela. Does anybody know how to say this survivor's name?
It is definitely, it is Michaela for some, and Michaela I have also heard from others.
Michaela,
So whatever tickles your fancy, I get. But one thing I did want to point out, you talked about the speed here. We see the Blight going with the double speed add-on. It's been a common use. That's really what allows Blight to be putting so much pressure across the map, even on a big map like this.
Very unfortunate that he actually meant it, that he hit the survivor that was on the hook during that unhook, but it seems like it doesn't matter because he's immediately got it down on the Zarina. This is going to be second stage for Zarina, so he's kind of doing the back and forth thing. No, that's actually first hook. I'm sorry. That would have been second stage on Nia. My fault. Apparently the walls are made out of butter as well. And this seems to be the one problem with Blight, is when you think that you're going to run into a hard surface and you just seem to slide just a little bit, and it kind of messes you up just a little.
Yeah, we do see some people have been able to learn where they can slide to help, but it definitely doesn't seem like it's always necessarily consistent. We do see Maelstrom seems to be fighting with that here.
Just a little bit. And to be honest, he had a really good position on that Zarina. I think he would have been able to actually get it down there if he would have stuck with it. But he must be just thinking, you know, map pressure, and gen pressure, because he's only got 1 gen left, and there's a total of 5 hooks total. So he really needs to buckle down and get a kill here. I think dropping chases right now, personally, is just not a wise decision. He still has his ruin up, so he could possibly actually pull something out of his hat here. But it just seems like he's getting stuck. He's bouncing off of everything. Like, this is, in my personal opinion, this is the downfall of Blight, is when you run into things that you're not intending to. That was a nice hit right there. Very nice hit. He definitely needs that. He needs to stick with the survivor here. Needs to stick with the survivor. Get it down. Get a kill. Put some more pressure onto them. There goes a very strong pallet. You love to see it. And it looks like Michaela might just go down here. Doesn't have a pallet to work with. And big swing. There she goes. So the obsession is down. Leaves her slugged. Leaves her slugged. Chooses not to go for the points, but instead to go for the map pressure, trying to extend the game.
Yeah, I think you had just hit on the point. Definitely feeling the pressure, feeling, you know, a low hook count right now. But you'll notice every time Maelstrom has pushed over to a generator and has been able to push people off, even still this late in the trial, we still have Ruin up. But we Overslept said, nah, you know what, Holmes? We're just going to go ahead and grind out these gens. That's all 5 gens, and that's a fresh hook, meaning we got plenty of hang time.
Oh yeah, that you really love to see. They're going to be able to 99 those doors. He needs to get this arena down, needs to make the play, but doesn't go for, does not go. Instead, he's going for a fresh hit on the Nia. Could possibly kill the Nia if he gets her down. Could possibly. I don't think anybody, I think that we have 1 survivor, and honestly, very great job. Ooh, that moonwalk was clean.
Yeah, I love the moonwalk in the mind game there. That was beautiful.
That was clutch. That was probably the best move that we've seen. Chooses not to go through the pallet. Very brave idea, especially in the tournament. Very smart idea to avoid that. He definitely should be able to get this hook. Yeah, absolutely. Gets the hook, and that's the second stage. Getting some more points on the board. I'm actually kind of surprised that Ruin is still standing. You would think that they would have gotten rid of it, but Ruin is still on the field. And this is right here is just where Blight just offers, and you have such a hard time doing the pinball moves with Blight when you're at that kind of loop. Doesn't break the pallet, instead goes to pressure the hook, and it looks like he does see another survivor. But here's the question, are we going to stay and pressure the hook, or are we going to try to get another down, because hitting and leaving is not working so far. And looks like we're actually going to commit to another down here. We might no, yep. He's just going to guard hook, going to confirm the kill. Oh, gets the escape. And who's he going to go for? It's fair game. Oh, unfortunate. Overshoots. Can we get the recovery? Nope. And it looks like we're gonna. Oh, we're not gonna get pinned there. Oh, gotta give him. Gotta give him. If that was me, I'd have got pinned there. I'd have been screwed.
Yeah, really good
Oh, for sure.
work around the way here. We now see actually located a Zarina that is injured. Zarina's got that door not quite to the point of 50%, just running to the corner. That's going to be Zound. I believe that should be hook number 2 for Zarina.
That should be. That should be. I feel. I want to say that everybody's had 2 hooks. Is he gonna go and use the basement? Yes, absolutely gonna go use the basement. Very smart play. Make the survivors go over into a corner where they're not near a door, they're not far from a door, but they're not right on the door where they can easily get the unhook and run away. And especially with Blight, do have the ability to cover that distance. Now it's very, very crucial that. And they leave. They leave. They leave. And that is it for that. Very well played. GG's all around. That was a good match. That was a good match. That was a very, very, very good match.
Yeah, we did see the interesting pick coming out with the Blight on a map that has kind of some tough areas to work around there. Able to secure the 1 kill. It looked like I think that was 6 hook states and then a progression for the 7th stage there. So definitely a very strong performance there, especially from our survivor side coming out here and able to walk out with 3 out the door. One thing definitely worth pointing out there for our team from We Overslept, they were able to fight through, and I don't know if you had noticed, but they were in that trial for quite a bit in the end game. There was actually a no way out in play there. And really basically just caused a trade over 1-for-1. You didn't lose any additional hook states or anything like that. So a really good job by our survivors here as far as being able to manage that.
My boy Q, I hate to interrupt y'all, and I hate to get into the middle of all this fun. But you're in streamer mode, so we can't see the
Yeah,
players.
I noticed that. I apologize. I'm so used to it. I got everything else set up, and I forgot that. But I will definitely get that set up in
Q,
between.
get good, homie.
Y'all have a good night, everyone.
But we will definitely get that set up.
Like
I know.
What
I
you
brought
doing,
you in
man?
for the first
What
day, and you can't
doing,
even keep
man?
track of the
We
people you're
can't have
calling.
nice
I'm
things.
sorry.
We can't have nice
Well,
things.
to be fair, it is my first time as far as on this side of the screen, which means I have to deal with all the buttons and everything. So I apologize about that, Chet. But we did see there. So I did want to point out, just in case we had anybody who wasn't able to see the score up in the top left-hand corner, but we actually got a 17-16 score currently. We Overslept did a very, very good job of securing some extra points with, obviously getting the 3rd person out, got him the 6 points for that one. Not quite able to get the 10 points for the 4th escape, but did very, very good to keep this thing close on the survivor side, which is harder to do.
A big shout out to that Claudette that popped that gen and stayed dedicated, stuck onto the gen, popped the gen right in the Blight's face. As a killer, you hate seeing that. As a survivor, it just feels so satisfying. So big shout out to that Claudette, because they did big things for their team by putting that pressure back on and getting that 3rd gen done and just quite literally taking one for the team. Good job onto that Claudette, man. Love to see it right out of the gate with Blight on that. Now, personally, I'm not the biggest Blight player in the world, and I'll be honest with you, but Blight on that just seems hard, and it seems like, we kind of did run into that a little bit where, you're hitting his power and you're either sliding on butter or, you're bumping into things that, you're not really intending to, and it kind of stutter steps you a little bit, quite literally. And so, massive shout out to bringing a Blight on that field and doing very, very well, still being able to secure, 6 or 7 hooks they got that last round, 1 kill.
6 hooks and then a progression, yep.
Yeah, 6 hooks and a progression, so very, very, very impressive. Coming right out of the door with a Blight, you gotta love it, you gotta respect it, Yeah,
the other thing too that I wanted to point out that was really critical, there was a point where our killer there for Hex Girls almost had 2 hooks right next to each other out front of the temple there, but they happened to get the save on the one furthest back, and it was actually right before that one went into a 2nd stage. So if they had gone to a 2nd stage and that the Blight had been able to push back there, had that save came in 7, 10, 12 seconds later, we could have been talking about a whole different result. And that's what I think is really like that's why I love coming and casting these matches, because just a couple of mistakes because of how good these people are on both sides of the matchmaking, both the single killer and the 4 survivors. a couple mistakes changes everything. So even
Oh,
though we saw a
absolutely.
couple things there, now we got to see Hex Girl's killer come out. Who do you think's do we see them come out with an S tier killer?
I would love to see it. You bring out the big gun, answer it back with a big gun. Say, okay, you got one. Come right back at it. You'd love to see it. I think that would be kind of, and that's kind of what I would tell my team to do. Is okay, they came at us with a blight. Go hit them back. Get some more points on the board. You're in a solid position, but you're only talking about a 1-point lead. So this killer has a little bit of pressure that he definitely needs to make sure that we at least can see a 2-kill game here, or a good amount. Get everybody on 2 hooks. You really got, you're in that position where you have that lead, but you got to get a little bit more. So this isn't the time to let up. This is the time to come back, answer back, and make sure that you're throwing some survivors on the hooks, and you're pleasing that entity, because it's very unforgiving out here. And when you're in this 4v1 kind of situation, shout out to these killers, because that's a lot of pressure that these players are under. And so far we've seen nothing but good plays so far. So let's hope that these teams continue, and let's keep it up, man, because so far that was a good warm up. I'm waiting to see something really, really, really good here, and we are good to go. So let's get it going, baby.
I love to see it. So we'll go ahead and switch on over to our spectator role here. I'll be interested to see here. So this is going to be one of those situations where, as the killer, you definitely got to be feeling good. Your survivors have set you up right. They were able to get, especially the third escape, giving you the 6 points. Definitely want to make sure at minimum you come in here and secure yourself at least that 10-point elimination, right? The very first elimination, because that's not getting you 10 points, but that is making sure that the survivors don't get that 10 points for that escape. And that's going to be the most important thing, especially because, again, we're talking about Temple of Purgation. This isn't a typical, like, what we see in, like, comp tournaments, right? So this isn't your, McMillan Estates, like a Suffocation Pit or an Ironworks or anything like that. We've got a lot of challenges, so I think it's important that our killers keep that in mind when you start seeing those gens fly.
I think the one thing that they definitely have to focus on is definitely map pressure. You got a little bit of leeway, but like I just said, you got some leeway. Let's see what you do with it. You're either going to widen that gap, or you can't let it get to you, but you really got to think of this game as, okay, where am I going to put it, to end game. Essentially you can lose a couple gens and you can allow us up a couple points so long as you're killing and you're getting hooks, but really start to focus on when it comes down to that end game, because as we just saw, when all those gens go, it does not mean that the game is over. It's not over until they all leave. So
right,
really, really hoping that it's just nonstop from the jump, instantaneous map pressure, and because map pressure will win you more games than honestly anything else. You need to be able to deny those gens and make sure that when it's down to those last 3 generators that you need to protect, that when you have one more gen and they're gone, when you're down to that last gen situation, that you essentially are making the survivors play your game. You're not playing theirs. And that, I think, is one of the hardest things that a killer can do, is to make sure that all 4 of the survivors are playing their game, not the other way around.
Agreed. So while we're loading into trial number 2, let's talk about how our survivors are going to be able to score some of these points here. The first and second gen complete get you 1 point apiece. The second and third will get you 2, and the fifth and final gen yields you the big whopping 3 points for that last generator. Now, the first escape will get your team 1 point. If you happen to get the second player to escape, that is going to be 2 points. A third escape gets you 4 points. And if you happen to get all 4 out, you get an additional 6 there. You do get your additional 1 point remaining on top for your points for the escaping if you happen to have less than 2 hook states. And a total of 26 points for our survivors. If you do happen to have any questions in regards to that side, again, definitely feel free to use exclamation point rules into the chat there. Now we are waiting for just a little bit here, waiting for this last load in. So
I love the static screen. It just reminds me of childhood. You know what I mean? Like when you lose power in the middle of the big football game, and then you see your dad just freaking out and smacking the hell out of the box. You love to see it. But yeah, really, really hoping that the one thing that I would definitely advise to these killers is definitely map pressure, map pressure, map pressure, map pressure, map pressure, and make sure that these survivors are playing into your pocket. You're not playing into theirs. And for the survivors, like, get those gens done. Get one person looping and just running and untouchable, and just go, 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 get it done. And it looks like we coming out with a nurse, baby. Woo! What an answer back to a blight. Here we go.
Yeah, I like the pick of the nurse here, especially after seeing the blight having some problems as far not problems, but having some just a little bit difficulties working around the longer structures, as well. It does kind of have some awkward corners and parts of the environment that stick out. So of course the nurse has the ability to break all of the rules when it comes to looping. So we do see we've located a couple of survivors back here in our corrupt. It's really going to be about how quick can we get our first down.
And this is interesting because we see the survivors over by the corrupt, and then they choose to leave the block gen to see where else we can get some survivors going. And we do find a survivor by an active gen, so wise call. It's very, very, very crucial that we land our blinks on this. And this is honestly going to be a make or break decision just with the nurse, especially like you just said. There's a lot of things that nurse can break with the game. Nurse essentially looks at the game physics and laughs as if this was Skyrim, but these blinks have to be on target, and so far we're seeing some that are getting us across, and we're letting a little bit, we're getting the survivors away from gens. Okay, we got a Michaela here. What are we going to do with it? That's a clean hit. Very nice, very nice. Now we need to follow up on this and immediately get the survivor down for this nurse here, and it looks as if we might be able to do that through the rock. And is it just me, or when nurse blinks it distorts you so much? So anybody that's willing to bring a nurse to a tournament immediately has my respect. And it looks like bam, there it goes, first one on the ground, and we still have 5 gens left. Nobody has gotten a gen done so far. We still do have corrupt active, so you love to see it. Very, very good start, very good position. And we're gonna go into the middle of the map here. Tinkerer just proc, so we do have some Tinkerer on this nurse here, which quite honestly is going to make this a very scary game for the survivors. I know personally getting a undetectable nurse flying at you and getting snatched off of a gen will just about give you a heart attack. So let's see, gets to the gen, immediate hit. You love to see it, and we are right on this. Felix immediate goes down. Wow, that was fast. And this is what you love to see, is that snowball decides to slug, goes back across, and is putting more gen pressure, more map pressure on these gens, getting these survivors to move. And you love to see it. Here we have a Dwight. He's going up, and smart call by making sure not to blink upwards and actually blinking in a direction that you didn't want to go. Sees the Dwight doing the counterplay and just falls short. You hate to see it.
Yeah, especially here, right? You're letting this chase here go longer, and don't forget you've still left a slug across the way. This is where sometimes you see killers start to overextend, trying to build extra snowball pressure here. But if you aren't able to get, yeah, now you haven't been able. You're basically trade
like
a 1-for-1 here, and you built no extra work really, because now you've got 2 people right by a gen across the way that it's almost done.
Yep, unfortunate. And that's the thing too, is sometimes when you leave somebody on a gen, or somebody slugged across the map from where the rest of the survivors are, that does get survivors off of the gen. But as we've seen, that has not been the case here. One gen goes off. We have Tinkerer just flirting with us nonstop, Tinkerer value. So we definitely got to pick our battles here and be careful, and might go down to kick a gen. No, not going to kick a gen whatsoever, just crossing the map, using the middle of the map very, very well. Blinking back, we're going to go protect the hook, which personally I feel as if we need to go kick a generator, but that's on me. And I think probably we more than likely have ruin up, which is very, very smart play. Checking a locker, feel like our nurse just might possibly be a little lost, might possibly, and is prioritizing making sure that we get a second state on the Dwight and trying to make sure that we take a survivor straight out. Here we go with the save from the Kate, and oh, that looked like a grab. Trying to get the grab, instead got the hit, and prioritizes the Kate, and short blink.
Able to get the snatch out of the locker. That was beautiful.
Through the locker. That was a clutch play, making the chase last less than 15 seconds. That honestly is what this nurse needs to see more of, is immediately get right back on a survivor, get somebody else eating dirt, and get these survivors on the ground, and then later into the hooks. But we're going back here, we're pressuring more gens, which we like to see it. This nurse isn't making a whole lot of mistakes. The only thing I would say is it needs to get a little bit more of these survivors injured, which of course isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. We're checking on this far away gen and driving them off, and we're getting some ruin value. We do see sparks flying as soon as the survivors get off, so it looks like we do have ruin activated. And putting Michaela, we're going right back to Michaela, getting the hit, and oh no, did not get the hit. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I thought I saw blood fly. I did not get the hit whatsoever. Looks like we're having a little bit of stuttering with the blinkage here, and Michaela is gone, and Gone, gone, gone. She's over in a corner using the loops. They're still using the structures of the map very, very well to create distance and to try to get out of this nurse's range. And you love to see it. Goes straight through, sees for the window, and that we need to see more of. Good job on the nurse. Michaela goes down right next to a hook. Throw her on a hook. Go on about your day. You got a Dwight to kill. Go, 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 go. There we see a little bit of Tinkerer value, and we are right there. That is the beautiful thing about Nurse. I'm so happy that this killer brought out Nurse, to be honest, just because of the ability to get across. And here's Dwight. If we hook Dwight's dead. If we hook Dwight, this now becomes a 3-on-1 situation. Needs to hit this blink. Needs to hit this blink. Gets up there, and Dwight is going and doing some really good looping here. Really good looping. Yeah, Dwight's gone. Dwight is gone. Going back to pressure the hook. We got an unhook here, and let's see what happens there.
Yeah, actually, back at the window, Dwight had done a very good job of being patient and held the vault and was still inside the temple when our nurse decided to blink outside and had gotten completely lost in the sauce.
And here we see Michaela going down. A little bit of the head shake. A little bit of the head shake. You love to see it. You love to see it. You love to see the competitive nature of, that these tournaments can bring out. And like you said, great job on that Dwight by faking out that drop and making the killer, swerve attentions and go elsewhere. So you like to see it. And we're actually going to go, instead of going to the gen that just popped, we're going to go over to the corner, looking possibly at setting up a 3-gen situation. Possibly. And they have been loving this gen downstairs. So we're going to blink down here and actually check out, see if we see scratch marks. And we do! Immediately comes on, and ow! Dwight is down again! You love to see it. Down he goes. The Obsession, we've been beating up the Obsession, so you start to wonder what perks, if there's any late games, will we see any Remember Me or not? Let's find out. So Dwight's on his second hook. We got 1 kill. They just healed, so we know that they're not on a generator. Possibly not on a generator. And so now it's just a mad rush of find a survivor, get a survivor down, and secure this victory. Let's see what we can do here. Gets the hit. That's a very, very nice hit. That lunge of Nurse really pulling through on that one. And Felix making good work of this loop. Unfortunately, you're playing the Nurse, and it doesn't matter. And he's right on it. He's going. Did he just try to dead hard past the exhausted Nurse? I'm very confused, but it doesn't matter. Dwight got saved in the middle of that loop. So unfortunately, these chases are going a little bit longer than what they need to be. Like, we've had some very instantaneous downs, and we've had the only times that this Nurse has had a hard time getting anybody down. The rest of the survivors are doing a great job of capitalizing and making that Nurse lose more pressure that she's putting on. So for instance, you saw that unhook in the middle of that. They're getting heals during these chases, so these chases do need to get a little bit faster. But major props to this Nurse, because this is very, very good Nurse gameplay. And I think I'm right. I think we're setting up for a 3-gen. We're doing more gen patrolling. You love it. Doing a really, really good job of owning the map. And are we going to find any survivors here? And is it just me? No, Ruin did get taken down. We did lose Ruin. And now across the map, we just got an unhook. So possibly a mistake going and putting pressure back on that gen and getting some aggression. Possibly not. Let's find out. We're going to see exactly how it goes. And they're going back down to the basement generator. That generator's got to be close with how much they're going to it.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind, though, when we saw that kick coming across the way, we did see the orange sparks, which does mean we did get the pop goes the weasel. So at least right now, Ian does have a chance to earn some regression. Since that Ruin was broken, you can at least earn regression with every unhook, or with every hook, I should say.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And good call out on that. I actually missed that. But here we are again. We're right back on the Felix. We're gonna take somebody else out of this game. I can just feel it. This Nurse is going to get it minimal a 2-piece, and just coming up short a little bit with that lunge. Now we got some extra fatigue. Go Felix, go, because you got about a 3-second window to get some distance. Unfortunately, once again, my man, you playing a Nurse, and it doesn't matter very much. And over in the corner, this Felix is doing a very good job of making sure that this Nurse does not take him down quickly. is doing very, very good at getting to a corner of the map where there are no generators. There's nowhere where this nurse can quickly transverse to go actually get that pop pressure. And at this point, the only thing that you have to do is just prolong the fact that eventually the nurse is going to get you down. So staying where there are no gens, there we are, there we have our downs. So staying where there are no gens active and letting your team we only got one more gen that we got to get done. So and there's our gen right there. See, I told you that basement gen, man. I told you. So, let's see whether or not we can actually get some pop value on that. Will we continue this game? You got to blink, nurse. And immediate, yep. Get the pop value. There's the pop value. And once again, that's going to reset it immediately because remember, pop takes off 25% and then starts the regression. So if they hop back on it, we will once again get an undetectable status from Tinkerer, so long as a little bit more progression goes down. But as soon as they touch it again, this nurse is going to be going undetectable, and they're right back on it. Here's the Kate. And are we going to go through the basement? Let's see what the Kate can do here with the loop. And very, very, very well timed dead hard. They really needed that. And Kate, get out of the basement. Kate. And nurse, that was a good cutoff. Absolutely. Very, very good cutoff. Kate kind of telegraphed exactly where she was going to go here, and bam, down she goes. Now, this is exactly what you like to see. Oh, with the firecracker delayed. Oh, what timing. How lucky did that nurse just get? Woo, baby, you love to see it. High intensity here. Kate does not go down without a fight. Chooses not to go touch that gen back downstairs now that we have pop value again. They did touch that gen, so we can pop that, but chooses not to. And instead, we're going to go over to another gen here. They just healed up. So Felix just healed up. So we have two fully healed survivors. So we got to hit the survivor 4 more times before we are going to have a GG here. And it looks like we're immediately going to find the Dwight. Now remember, y'all, Dwight is dead as soon as he is on this hook, which is going to be a really, really good thing for this nurse. And then it essentially will become a one-on-one with the Felix. And we already know where he's going to go. Oh, we tried for the CJ tech, and he actually gets it. Little bit. Very nice play. Seems like the nurse is a little frustrated on that. A lot of head shaking, a lot of movement there. It seems like they're kind of upset with how that one went. And we're just going to cross the distance. And once again, these survivors are doing a great job of going to the opposite side of where the team is. And Dwight goes down. Dwight is down. And it looks like Kate might just bleed out on hook. Might just actually get killed. Oh, Kate is out of the game. Felix did not go and get the save. Instead, he chose to work on the gen. Excuse me. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. And he just actually missed the skill check, immediately telling this nurse where it is. This is exactly what we wanted to see from this team, was them coming out with an S-tier killer to answer back with that blight and get the possible 4K. Absolute guarantee already that we have the 3, and it is a one-on-one nurse via survivor. And so far the Felix has actually done the best job in being able to keep this nurse busy and keep this nurse guessing. So we might possibly be able to find the hatch. We don't know, and all it's going to take is this nurse guessing right 2 times, excuse me. He's actually fully healed. We need to get a hit here, and we seem to be having a little bit of a problem. We've closed the gap here, so this nurse unfortunately had to double blink, which causes a lot of fatigue, and Felix has got a lot of distance here. Finds the hatch. He finds the hatch. Beautiful job for that Felix, being able to secure his team 1 escape, denying the 4K. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what you exactly wanted to see from the survivor team. That was beautiful. Well done. GG's all around, firm handshakes. That was a beautiful game. Beautiful. You love to see it.
Yeah, you love to see. Really good job by our survivor there. It looked like I think they were trying to stick that gen there at the end, trying to get those last 3 points for completing that 5th gen. And instead, like you said, happened to blow the skill check, which meant they had kind of given up their location. The good news was since they were full health, they had plenty of time to kind of move around, listen around with their ears, try and figure out where that hatch was, which they were able to find. So they get the extra point, plus they do take away those points as far as for the elimination from the killer. So a couple of point swing by our survivors, which is definitely what our survivors needed after coming out and having a little bit of a struggle, right? I mean, we see right now, it looks like 41-23, I believe.
little bit, yeah, and way to get the point lead, and now it's on the killer again to try to get that gain once again, and you love to see it. That honestly, that nurse did such a good job with being able to prioritize gens over chases, and even with that Felix. And how many times do you see somebody at the end 1v1 a nurse and still survive to get the hatch? So honestly, great job to that Felix, and especially across the map even. That you love to see. That right there was the play of the game, and that honestly was probably the most clutch that he could have done. That nurse seemed to be a little frustrated towards the end, a little bit, with a little bit of that head shakes mid chase when it came to the Dwight. That, or you just thought that he got the hit, etc. But still, overall, great play. Anybody that can play a nurse, especially to that kind of caliber with this kind of pressure, great player. Huge shout out to that nurse play. That made me happy to see. You love to see a nurse in a tournament. You love to see the answer back with one S tier killer to another. You love to see it. That was a great match. Beautiful idea, especially backing up the Tinkerer and the Pop. So that way, when you do get that, I was kind of sad to see that we didn't get that undetectable status once again. But overall, that match, man, oh man, that was one for the legends right there. Especially just going across the map and getting a hatch. Man, y'all ain't never gonna see that again. That was beautiful.
Yeah, definitely a really good performance by the nurse on a map that's normally known to be a little bit more survivor sided, kind of, especially like we saw in trial number 1 coming out, and able to do a really good job. I think that was actually 11 stages altogether that they had secured, even with the one escaping. So had maximized the most of their points. Now, the thing to keep in mind and keep an eye out for, especially with our score being the way it is right now, 41-23, though, a couple point swing for the escape there might actually allow our team here for Hex Girls, or sorry, for We Overslept, to start surmounting a little bit of a comeback. If not a comeback, at least be able to keep this thing going for all 4 sections, because right now it does look like we've got Hex Girls running away with it.
Oh yeah, definitely. They definitely need to come back. They need to make sure, that they play well, that they communicate. Definitely, we got to make sure that we can loop a killer. We haven't seen, a full set on loop the killer for 1 or 2 gen pops. And once again, shout out to these killers because they're denying that. But we really need to see. We Overslept step up here, and best of luck to them, and I hope that they do come out and they perform well, because we definitely got to make sure that we do something here. We're getting told to go back to the lobby.
Yeah, I'm backing out there. That was my fault. I again, my first day sitting over on this side of the desk here. I'm
Listen,
used to
we're
being
gonna
able
have some
to.
difficulties.
But so at this point here, we're at the midway point, and we're looking at an 18-point lead. Now, the good news is we are in the preseason here, so that does mean that obviously the L's hit a little bit different during the preseason, right? They're not quite as bad to take to the chin. I will be interested to see here, knowing that they have a little bit of a lead. Maybe this is where Hex Girls comes out with one of the more like mid-tier killers that they're trying to work on here, because that way they can still also give their survivors a chance to come out and work on some strategies in trial number 4.
Right, and so basically what you're putting at is, it's kind of like practice. We're talking about practice, right? But at the end of the day, this really is kind of where Hex Girls do need to come out and secure their lead, because as you said, you only have 18 points, and for the killer, there's a whole possible of you can get 30 points. So this is not the time to ease up. The game's not over until the game's over, and we ain't done yet. So this is not the time to let up, because We Overslept is going to be coming out, and they need to be coming out hard with everything that they got. So these teams, Hex, this ain't the time to calm down. Don't celebrate yet, because we're only at halftime, and it's Dead by Daylight. You never know what's gonna happen whenever you walk into the fog. So I'm really looking forward to see how this third and possible final round can go. Are we gonna get to full 4 trials here? Are we gonna get out to the max points? I'm really kind of interested to see what killer they're going to bring out here, and is this going to secure lead, or is this going to allow these survivors a little bit more into the mode of, like you said, are we going to, take a lower tier and kind of have a good time here, or are we just going to go for the kill? Personally, go for the kill. Go for it. This is not the time to ease up off the gas. Make sure you secure this.
Oh, and it looks like we just
Are we having issues?
lost the lobby. I'm not sure if maybe they didn't realize that I slid into the killer role because I didn't see if we were ready to go just quite yet there, and I didn't want us to start a little too early. So hopefully maybe we're going to get another invite. But I think you hit on a good point as far as for Hex Girls. This is where you definitely don't want to let off the gas, because the last thing you want to do is let a killer come out in trial number 4 and have all of the control. So you do have a lead. You want to make sure that you can keep the pedal down. And let me see here. We're loading into another
I'm
lobby.
still holding out for a Huntress here. I would absolutely love to see a Huntress come in and secure this for this team. But definitely these survivors, everybody that's in these tournaments are very highly skilled players. These matches are far from easy for anyone. So really kind of interested to see how the survivors are going to come back here, and how we Overslept are going to be making a comeback here. When they're on the survivor side, of the fence here. And as you mentioned before, this is somewhat more geared towards the survivor side. I don't believe in survivor side or killer side of things, but it's we're really, really interested to see how we're going to answer back. Are we going to be able to get the points and deny the points? Because essentially the what they need to think of is, we need to deny this killer points right now. We cannot allow these kind of things to happen. They need to come out. I'm really hoping that this killer comes out and is thirsting for blood, but at the same time, these survivors got to be playing very, very cautious. They can't allow many hook stages. They can't allow many things to happen. You really, 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 really need to get a good loop going and get a couple gens gone, and be kind of interested to see if a killer will allow that or not. Because every killer has been very smart with how they've been playing their chases. You haven't been caught in that "I'm gonna kill you" that a lot of killers do get caught up in. So really, really kind of interested to see what's gonna happen here, and let's see whether or not Hex can secure the win, or we Overslept is gonna wake up here. But I'm full pun intended.
I love it. I love it. Want to make sure before I lose track of it here, shout out to Shaxa78 coming through with that raid. Appreciate you bringing through your community, trusting your community with us over here at Vigo's Court. Welcome in, everybody. We are currently going to get started with trial number 3 here with Hex Girls versus We Overslept. Again, Hex Girls looking at a 18-point lead currently. And I think this is going to be where, again,
it's kind of make or break, isn't it? This round's kind of make or break, isn't it?
So this is going to be
that way.
Again, though, I think this is going to be where I would not be surprised to see Hex Girls come out with, since it's preseason, come out with something like of a killer that you're trying to figure things out on, get some live reps, especially against a comp team like this. Let's act like this is game 4 and you need to have a good round on a B tier killer, right? Because we obviously saw that you are very, very confident on your nurse. Now the question is, what else can you bring to the table? Because keep in mind, once we hit the season, you can only use your S tier killer so many times. So you kind of want to make sure that everything's solidified out by that point, right?
Right, exactly. So it's gonna be one of those things of who's this killer? It's kind of like when we were a kid. Who's that Pokemon? You can't wait to see it.
And while we're getting ready to load into trial number 3 here, let's go ahead and talk about some ban rules. You are only going to have one of every perk and item. The only duplicate that you can see on our survivor side is that borrowed time, which you can have 2 of. As far as ban perks, you will not be seeing Haunted Ground. You will not be seeing Prove Thyself, and you will not be seeing Starstruck. Killers are limited as far as during the season to be used twice a season. They can be used multiple times during the preseason, just not during the same time. 1 character per team. Violations are subject to the penalties. Those who need to be judged shall be judged viciously. So make sure that you are, if you need to have any clarification, especially our competitors, do make sure you are using !rules in the chat. Now we are going into trial 3, and I think you put a good point. You know, if we were in the regular season, this would be a point where Hex Girls do have the possibility to put things away. But the question still holds: will we possibly see them come out and try and put a little bit of extra practice in? On maybe instead of coming out with like a spirit or a blight and putting things away, maybe we see, maybe this is where we see like a doctor come out.
That honestly would be interesting, and that would be all right, my friend, spectator. Uh, that would be kind of the interesting thing to kind of see, do they go straight for the blood, do they go for the kill, or do they kind of ease up and they just chill? I'm getting told to switch to spectating.
Yeah, we just got loaded in.
Okay, got you. My bad. I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good. We do
Oh,
see
we're
the
back with
blight
another blight.
though.
With the blight. Okay. Let's see what we're gonna do. Another blight with the corrupts. It almost seems like they're gonna answer back with their own version of blight. Let's see how this match is gonna go here. And we are immediately on a Nia, excuse me. Nina, jeez, dear Lord. And doesn't get the hit, shakes it off, doesn't seem happy with that. And goes for the window. And here we go. I asked for a looper and Nia's delivering.
And the Shack being a little bit of a tougher loop against for a blight here, right? Especially with Pallet still up. You also still have that corrupt up, so might as well come across and put some pressure on our gens. It looks like that's what Eternal Jade is doing.
Oh, absolutely. And very, very smart by leaving the Shack there, recognizing that they were beat, breaking that pallet immediately, and came very, very close to that clothesline shot. And let's see what they wind up doing here. And just winds up and gets the hit. You love to see it. That was such a smart play. Such a well done play here. Wow. That was smart. But now we're going over into a corner. And once again, these survivors are going over into a corner where the gen is blocked. So we're using really, really smart ways of using this map to waste the killer's time. But once again, it's a blight. We're using all high mobility killers here today. And we do have Ruin. So we do have Corrupt and Ruin. I swear they took that same. Oh, and we have words, they're hard. We do have Tinkerer, some Tinkerer value proc, so leaving the chase and going, and unfortunately could not get there in time. And so turns around, misses. Oh, you hate to see it. That was so close.
Yeah, it was really close there, and we do see that with that first gen getting done across the way, we still have yet to see a hook come in, so this is going to be really important. Chasing the injured Kate here, and I'm not trying to put any extra pressure onto External Jade here, but I do see a Blight main Lilith Omen hanging out in chat with us. What up, Lilith? Hopefully you're having yourself a fantastic Thursday.
And Blight here being very patient, waiting for the dead hard, immediately gets it down. Now we're starting to actually get a little bit of pressure back onto the survivors. It's not all the pressure is generated towards the killer. So first hook here, and let's see what we're gonna do with it. Goes off, and let's see where are we gonna go. And did we mean to fall? We did mean to fall. Goes through the locker. What a miss. That was such a smart play there by the Fang. Turns around, gets hit, spins it, and where are we going? And unfortunate for the Blight. Took the wrong side of the wall, but it's a Blight. He can make up time. And seems like he's getting stuck. Definitely getting stuck. Oh! Dear Lord, what a clothesline that was. That was a surprising little hit there. I thought he was kind of stuck there and wasn't going to be able to make a move, but comes out of left field with a clothesline, hook, line, sinker. Down she goes. And we are back to one survivor on the hook. We got two hooks. Tinkerer just procced across the map. And let's find out whether or not this Blight's going to be able to get there in time to slow it down and let Ruin do its work. He is, but unlucky and not a connect on a hit.
Yeah, we do see now at this point, we've pushed people off of gens a couple of times here. We do see those sparks still coming into play here, meaning that we do still have a Ruin, even though we had seen a totem cleanse across the way, meaning that our survivors still have a little bit of extra objective work other than just standing there at a gen, holding M1 and hitting some great skill checks.
Right, you do love to see it. Anytime that you can get a survivor off of a gen and delay the game and keep it going. Very nice job at getting rid of that pallet immediately. Michaela here is just not able, Michaela, I don't know, I'm going to call her whatever, is not able to really get any distance, but immediately turns around for the Tinkerer proc, trying to get more value out of Ruin, and he's going to get that hit eventually. Eternal Jade is going to get that hit, and we love to see it, driving these survivors. And Kate looking like she's going to come in, gets right in the way, excuse me, and now we're switching off and going for the Kate instead of staying with the survivor that was right on the generator here. So very, very kind of a risky move here because you already know that Tinkerer is proc, so that gen is close. So we need to get this hit, get it quickly, which he does seem to deliver on. And once again, Tinkerer is just nonstop. These survivors are spreading out. They're putting good pressure onto these gens, and they're doing a really good job of making sure that the gens that they're working on are not going to set them up for a 3-gen. They're doing very, very, very good job of making sure that they're spreading where these gens are going on. And this Blight, this survivor is doing a great job. You love to see it. I asked for loops, I got it. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we actually see not only the one Tinker across the way, but this gen that we're at now has also got Tinker. We've also got the third one that we were just at, also past 50%. So if we can get our Survivor off the floor, there's the Survivor off the floor. Our Survivors here are able to put a lot of pressure down right now.
Oh yeah, and there goes the gen right then and there. Now we're down to 3 gens left to be remaining. We know what gens they're going to be pressuring. They're not getting off of this gen. They're determined that they're going to get this gen done. And really, this blight needs a down, and he needs it very quickly. He needs almost 2 downs very, very quickly. These survivors are doing a really, really good job of being able to make sure that this blight is trying and having to be in all places at all times. And you got to remember, he's been on this side. They've been on this side of the map for quite a while, so you wonder how those gens on the other side of the map are doing here. And almost as if they heard me, they seem to be going to check.
Yeah, we see pushing across the way here, though. Interesting to see them come over to this portion where we don't have any gens to defend, right? This is the corner of the map where currently there's not going to be any survivors over here because there's no objective over here.
Exactly.
And now we've got another generator proxying Tinkerer.
And we have a hurt survivor here, so this could really work out for the Blight, provided that we play it well. Breaks the pallet, take that away from the survivor, which is a good idea. And I do believe that Ruin is still up as well, so these gens are still digressing here. Words are really hard. These gens are still slowing down here. Gets the down. Gotta go for the hook. Gotta get these survivors off of these gens here. Gotta get them to have another objective. And immediately getting Tinkerer value right on the gen, right next to where he's gonna hook here, and looking to immediately get the survivor back on the ground. Doesn't really seem to know where they went. Scratch marks didn't help that much. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, the other thing to keep in mind here too is right now our killer Eternal Jade has been over in this corner. If you look across the way, you kind of have a 3-gen on the opposite side of the map that you could be defending. Instead, you're over on this side. Sure, you're getting yourself some downs, but can't help but wonder if this is going to actually be a mistake in the end game.
Well, see, that's where, you know, if you can piggyback these 2 survivors, keep them in the same area and just exchange hook, that eventually will work out into your favor. Great job on getting that down, by the way. That was a really, really good hit. Really needed that to happen. But once again, almost every gen that we're going to has progress on it. So these survivors are doing a great job of dividing and conquering. And as you said, straight across the map, once again, we have Tinkerer value. And this just is not boding well for our Blight here. Definitely got to be getting themselves another down here. You have to get another survivor on the hook at this situation. You have to get another survivor on the hook. You got to get these survivors off of these gens. And unfortunately, doesn't seem to be able to find the survivor that actually proc the Tinkerer. Oh, never mind. We did see them. We did indeed see them, but instead chooses to run off. Possibly the Blight actually didn't see them, but we definitely did. And where are we going? We're launching out of a window and putting more pressure back on this gen that we had the hook on. There is a survivor here, and there's a survivor there. Kind of a 6 1/2 dozen in the other situation. That is once again the Nia that we have not gotten a down on whatsoever.
Yeah, so we do see now the at least able to get the 1 health state coming into effect there. That is going to be a totem broken across the way. It does look like that is actually the Ruin. We do see here now that our survivor here, I believe that's the Michaela. Yeah, the Michaela's leaving that gen, and there are no longer sparks, meaning that there is no more Ruin in play.
Oh yeah, so we take out the Ruin. So kind of wondering, are we going to see another pop? Are we going to see another pop? Goes the Weasel. Wow, double Tinkerer. Double Tinkerer. There's so much pressure on this Blight right now. Really needs to get this. Really needs to get the survivor down. It needs to do it with quickness. Gets robbed by that late block. Unfortunate. You know, it's unfortunate when you're running Blight and you just run into things that you just don't see it. And, you know, you're not expecting to run into. You kind of hate to see it. And there goes another gen.
Yeah, and the other thing to talk about, to bring up to your point, I know you were asking about the Pop Goes the Weasel. Keep in mind, we saw the Corrupt Intervention to start. We have seen 2 Hex Totems broken, and of course, we have also seen Tinkerers. That actually means that at this point, Eternal Jade has no help as far as gen regression, and now just needs to rely on being able to get a survivor removed from the trial to put things in his favor.
Oh yeah, absolutely needs to get a sacrifice here, 100%. There's only 1 gen left, and oh, big upset by taking down the Nia. Immediately gets the gen regressing, and you love to see it. You know, they needed that. They 100% needed that down there. Gonna get the Nia on the hook, and is in a great. If he can find that Kate and immediately get that Kate down, that would be absolutely ideal for Eternal Jade right now.
Yeah, at this point here, the good news though for you, if you're the survivors, yeah, you got somebody who's on fresh hook and they're no longer going to give you max points on the way out. But right now, you've got 110 seconds basically of hang time that you can either decide, am I going to get them off the hook right now, or am I going to try and force some gens? Because you can see we still have all 4 survivors left in the trial.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, like I said earlier, you know, and that's very unfortunate that Nia was the survivor that was there because, you know, as you stated, first hook, and very, very nice move there to get the hit on Michaela, and still on the hook is the Nia, so she's very, very close to second stage. So you gotta wonder, are her teammates just sticking to the 1 gen? And there goes Michaela, so this could be an upset. We could turn this around so long as Nia actually does stay on the hook. And instead she yeets.
Wow. We saw across the way, it looks like that was actually a deliverance play here. That is going to be hook number 2 for Gbot. That will mean that both Gbot and T-Night Wolf are both are going to be 2 hooks in. Now you're coming here and applying a dry kick onto this gen, but don't forget we also had a Tinkerer procs in the basement.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. At this point, it's more of where we're gonna go, and there goes that gen that was in the basement where we had that Tinkerer. Doors are powered. Let's see where this Blight's actually gonna go from here. Are we gonna defend the hook and confirm the kill? Which kind of seems like that's what we're actually going to settle and do, leaving these survivors a 3-person escape if they choose to, or they can try to go for the 4-man. So really, you know, Michaela's hands is more in her teammates more than it is the Blights. And they do open the door indeed, so the doors are open. At least 1 door is open. Kind of interested to see whether or not Michaela's going to live through this.
Yeah, the only thing here, right, is like you're already you'd be sacrificing somebody who's on death hook. There's no reason to trade that for somebody who could maybe give them more points. So at that point, it's a pretty easy decision, I think, to take the 3 out, especially because the doors are just so far away.
Oh, absolutely. Good job. Good job on this Blight. You know, just unfortunate, you know, just that was the most Tinkerer I've seen pop in a match in a very, very long time. Great job by these survivors, and way to at least secure yourself 1 kill, you know, get some points on the board. But very, very good job. You know, We Overslept is in a good position now. They can come back. You know, the points are getting a little bit closer, so, you know, We Overslept does have the opportunity now to come back and actually secure this victory. So very, very, very interesting match. You love to see it. GG's, well played to all.
Yeah, we do see here that We Overslept has been able to break down that lead a little bit. Now we're only looking at, I believe that it's 14 if my math is correct, 41 to 55. That does mean, though, that we're going to need a very, very strong performance from our a killer here of We Overslept. They're going to need to come out here, and they are going to need to make sure to get a 4K on. I think they're going to need to get it done before the end game. I'm not 100% sure on that, but you know, I feel like here is probably going to be that situation where we see another S tier killer come out. Who do you think it is?
Well, honestly, I would love to see another nurse. These teams have been kind of going tit for tat for what the killers have been bringing out. You know, we saw 2 Blights so far, so we're kind of interested to see a nurse. You know, we might actually see a Spirit. You know, you never know. And quite honestly, you know, you got to go for broke in this situation. You know, if you're, you know, We Overslept, and great job on the Survivor team for We Overslept by making sure that Blight had themselves not the easiest of matches. It's kind of a rough map for Blight because, you know, once again, like we talked about earlier. You know,
hey guys, sorry to interrupt y'all. Gotta interrupt y'all again. So We had 2 deliverances in one match. So the other team is getting an optional reset. I'll let y'all know what happens shortly.
Okay.
All right, sounds
Thank you.
good.
So,
Ooh.
so for anybody who might be wondering why we have extra voices today, it's because I'm new. No, it's because it's my first time over on the left side of your screen here, as far as running the deck and everything. And you know what? I'm throwing Vader under the. No, I'm not. I just unfortunately I didn't get the chance to, as far as be able to set everything up to have a third channel so they would be able to talk to us without being able to be heard in the background. So that's why we're having a couple times already where normally that's stuff that you wouldn't hear, and we just be able to give you that information right off the rip. So we appreciate you guys for having patience with us, and more importantly, patience for me, because it's my first time. I'm sorry.
Get good, Q. Get good.
But that is very unfortunate with the 2
job.
deliverances. Like, I feel like when you
Yes,
go
yes.
in, you kind of have to have that like communication amongst the team, right?
We just talked about it actually, like right before the match loaded as well. Was the fact that you could not only, you couldn't have repeating perks, and you had to make sure that everybody was using a different survivor, etc. So, run it back, honestly, and kind of interested to see what's gonna happen with the match, and if they're gonna take the optional, do a mulligan and do a reset with it. So, a little bit of drama here after the third match. And, waiting to see what the teams are going to decide here, and
that's really tough when you're closing, like you're already closing the gap,
No
right?
reset.
So we're gonna have no reset. So I believe that just means a point deduction.
Yes, -5.
All right, so we are going to have a point deduction of -5. So that means now we are looking at a score of 55 to 36, meaning you need an even stronger performance from your killer here. I would imagine that, though, to be fair, I think this is one of those situations where if it were during this season, you probably run it back, right? Especially because the survivors did have such a strong performance. Like, hey, let's run it back and let me have a better performance on my killer. But we're in the preseason, all is well. Love to kind of just see the go with the flow here from our teams.
Oh yeah, it's good to see everybody being free flowing and just kind of saying, okay, well we'll take that L. You possibly see that more because it's the preseason. Definitely to answer your question, definitely when you're in a tournament, you 100% want to give your killer another opportunity to get you even more points. You kind of just got handed a gimme at that situation. And during the actual full tournament setting, you definitely got to capitalize on that.
Yeah, especially too, right? Like, here it's a little like it's a little bit of like wind out of your sails, right? Like your survivors just went out and had a good game. Granted, we could sit here and have discussions and wonder if the second deliverance actually was like a huge, as big of a factor as we thought. But I think we actually saw both in play. I wasn't sure when we saw the one late. I think we had seen the other one rather early on. I could be mistaken on that. That's why I wasn't sure if the second one was possibly a second chance, which was second wind.
Right.
So that's why I really wasn't too worried there. But yeah, definitely like it's a little bit of sail out of your win as the killer. You see your survivors like, hey, you set me up, man. We're down within a couple points. You're like, oh, now I need what?
Right. Well, that's where that tournament and that competitive mindset's got to take over and go. Okay, cool. You guys set me up. We had this. I was in a very, very secure situation, and now cool. The pressure's back on. I'm back on the burner. I'm back in the hot seat. So you really got to come back out here. And ideally, this killer gets a 4K at 3 gen still standing and gets the max amount of points to be able to secure the win for the team. But, you definitely you got to take those lumps. When things don't really play out the way that you want them to, and you got to have that. So the very interesting call with not doing the reset, and kind of curious as to see how this fourth game is actually going to play out. And regardless how this killer does, good job, because this is a lot of pressure that they're being on. They have to get a lot of points. They have to control this match 100%. So you're absolutely right. This you can't let that take that out of your sails, but you are definitely feeling the pressure if you're this killer right now.
Now here's where I can't help but wonder. I kind of figured we were probably going to see an S tier killer come out, maybe a nurse to match the one that we had seen earlier, because obviously we overslept come out with the blight in trial number 1, maybe come out with a spirit. But now I can't help but wonder if we're at a point where
Do we
maybe
go
you
full bore or do we not?
maybe you bring
Right?
out the twins who are very strong in a slugfest sort of routine. Try and shut them down early. Yeah, you sacrifice some points on the progressions, but if you go full bore and you hit that 7th and 8th progression, get those bonus points back plus the 4K, which gets you those 2 bonus points. Then you're
Hey
looking at
Q, I
maybe
need you to
being able
accept
to
G-Bot's friend request.
maybe at that point you would be able to
Possibly. What I would be very, very interested to see is if we actually have a pyramid head, just because you need to be able to control the map, and because he has a built-in Mori, being able to take a survivor out, which may not get you the most points, but it will let you be able to actually stack up points against the rest. So, possibly, we could see a pyramid head here where, you get that torment out, you put people in cages, and you make those survivors get off of those generators. That's the one thing that the survivor or the killer, excuse me, absolutely has to guarantee that they do in this match is get those survivors off of the generators. You want to have a long match because, as we all know, playing Dead by Daylight, the longer that your matches go, the more it is guaranteed that the survivors are going to be sacrificed. So this killer has to 100% take care of the gens and get these survivors on the ground. You had mentioned the slug with the twins, so it'll be very interesting to see whether or not they do that. And honestly, I feel as if a twins would be kind of the right decision here. You want a more map-oriented killer. This is a big map. It's got a lot of LT walls, as we've discussed. So very interested to see what this killer is going to do, because the spotlight is definitely on this killer right now.
Yeah, so again, gotta see. Again, can't help but feel just a little bad for G-Bot here, knowing that you had that 5-point penalty, but it is preseason here, so I can't help but wait to see what comes out here. No, again, knowing that you're looking at now you're looking at a 19. No, I can't do math, right?
Okay, don't trust me for this.
Oh yeah, that's a 19-point lead. Yeah. Yeah, you got so with knowing that you need a very strong performance here. Again, I think you either come out with a very, very aggressive nurse and again go for the same sort of if I need to slug, that's what I'm going to do in order to secure my 4K, in order to get the progressions, in order to maximize my points. And also, the more I think about it and talk about it, I'm just gonna go ahead and lock in my pick of nurse. That's what I'm gonna do.
Just gonna go ahead and lock in nurse.
Well, because the more I think of it, like the twins take some work as far as like being able to manage both sides, like both killers, which is good for the long game. But you're right now, you need to come out and have like an ultra aggressive game, which makes me it just smells nurse to me,
Right. That's again. That's why the Huntress main to me. Maybe I gotta get off of it, but I feel as if being able to have those long range shots and being able to put pressure from all sides of the map. You're absolutely right. They definitely need to come out here, and you need to be out here for blood. You got to get these survivors on the hook. You got to get them on the ground. You got to get them off the gens, and you got to do it now. You got to do it while we're loading in. And this is not the time to go easy. This is not the time. You definitely have to be able to recognize when to drop chase, when to put pressure, where to go, etc. So, really, really hoping for this killer. He's got to come right out of the gate, and he's got to put blood on the ground immediately. And no excuse, no nothing. No matter what you're able to do or whatever you're not to, got to be able to take care of the situation and got to be able to get some points on the board for your team, like no matter what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
No matter who he picks, he's got to be able to come out here, and he's got to show up, and he's got to do it very quickly.
Yeah, so while we're getting ready to load in here, let's go ahead and talk about some of our penalty bans here. So as far as matches with penalties, talking about some of our rules, they may be played out kind of like we just saw, right? Or they can be restarted, or both. So if we have like two of the same survivor, if we have banned perks or add-ons or multiple perks like we just saw, it is -5 points and a possible restart. Wrong map is a -5 points. Don't want to harass the ref, because definitely shouldn't be doing that. Bringing players not on the roster will also get you some points. Those are going to be 10 points and then a restart. And exhausted killers, 10 points and a restart. Delay of game, some points as well. If I'm talking really fast, you can't keep up, exclamation point rules, because I'm not your mama. Let's go ahead and get right on into our game here, though. We are going to have G-Bot coming out here, and I'm really excited as we are, like I said, coming out with the nurse.
Add a nurse, my man. Go play the lottery, man. You're on point with it. And the nurse immediately trying to go find a survivor. We do have a lit totem, so possible ruin on the field. We're gonna have to wait and see what this nurse actually does. But we have a survivor, and we have a survivor doesn't stay with the loop. Are they coming or are they going? They are actually. It looks like they're just going straight across the map. The nurse covering some distance here, and we're staying right at these strong figures here. And it seems as if, oh yeah, we're after Nia here, gets the hit, and that's exactly what you want to see. Gets the obsession. So we're using save for best for last. This doesn't really help us, but trying to lead the Nia, trying to see exactly where they're gonna go. Gets the right call, and an unfortunate move on the pallet, not able to secure the hit.
Yeah, now this is going to be really big here because we do see G-Bot now coming across the map into the corrupt side of the map. Now this is big because we have 3 healthy survivors that could be simply holding M1 and hitting some great skill checks and working towards the objective.
We've seen every single team do this, and I keep saying this every match. And there's our gen pop right there. We're on the other side of the map, and you can't do anything here. You have nothing that's going to be able to help you because your gens are covered. Every survivor team is doing a great job of making sure that when they do go down, they're in a position that's not hindering their team.
Yeah, we do see here at this point, we've got some scratch marks heading away from this gen. That's going to be a second generator actually across the way. And did want to point out here, we see multiple scratch marks, but they are actually leaving away from the hook here. G-Bot doing a very good job of zoning the survivors, using the temple here, because this is going to be where you're going to probably see G-Bot try to secure a second hook state before this player comes off hook, because then once they're on hook, they're 1 hook state away from being out of the game.
Absolutely, and you really need to make sure that this Nia is taken out of the game as fast as possible. She's almost the second stage, that the entity is growing on the hook, and he's doing a very, very good job of making sure that the survivors aren't there for the save. And now we have a Michaela just diving for it, no fear whatsoever, and looks like he's going to try to set himself up for a grab. And we're going to play a little bit of the are we getting near or are we not here, trying to get the grab, making sure that he doesn't waste time. There's another gen. 2 hooks and 2 hook states, and 2 gens are left. Wow, that was hard to say.
Yeah, really interesting play here. We saw our survivors opt for just the 1 player save, knowing that you basically just need to crush out gens here, right? Knowing that G-Bot has so much pressure, needing to get the 4K, basically at the point that we're at now of 3 gens being complete. Now, we do see the save coming in, but that is while they are on death hook, being just 1 health state away from being out of this game.
And just as predicted, he goes straight after the Nia, goes right to it, and Nia using a great dead hard there to get out of the nurse's range. He really does need to get this Nia immediately out of the game, but it seems as if prioritizing this 1 kill is actually going to cost this nurse a lot more already, because he's already lost 3 gens over 2 hook states. So and keep in mind that if he does get this Nia, that's not pressure on anybody else. Big spins by that Nia, big spins. You love to see it.
Yeah, the one thing to keep in mind, if G-Bot is able to secure a down right now, especially onto the Nia, that would be a GG for the Nia, and we also still have Ruin in play, so you could play a very, very hyper-aggressive back end of the game. But you'll notice as G-Bot looks around, you'll notice that where we're at, there's no generators right there, so that means that there are people free to work on gens across the map.
Absolutely. So as much as he needs to secure this kill, and he does need to stay with this, unfortunately the chase is going a little bit longer than is ideal here, because the entire time that you're spending chasing this 1 survivor to secure this 1 kill, bam, we're already down to 1 gen left. This has been a very, very quick match. This is the exact opposite of what we needed to see. In all honesty, G-Mob needs to leave this Nia. Finally gets the down, and we did see a Felix real close. So are we going to go for all of the gens are done. All of the gens are done already. Worst case scenario for G-Mob, absolutely.
Yeah, the one thing to keep in mind, though, just because we've seen it in the past, the hook that we just used is the closest hook to that door back over the left shoulder there. So that does mean if we make a play over there, that can make things a little spicy a little later on. Now, we are going to see a totem getting cleansed across the way, and you'll notice that that haste status effect on the right side of the screen just disappeared. There is a Noed that got lit and was cleansed before G-Bot could even get any sort of value out of it.
Oh, so for the first time, we actually see, them prioritize also making sure that these totems don't come in because the ruin was almost and doesn't actually go for the survivor on the door. It keeps everybody in the game, and it looks like he tried to dead hard, but he still got hit through it. Unfortunate. You do hate to see it, and he's going back now. And this is exactly what this killer needs to do. This killer needs to slug and honestly rip the no-ed. Unfortunate. You hate to have that fallback perk just not be available to you.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. Unfortunately, with where we're at thus far in the trial and having already accrued a progression and giving up 5 states, I think even if the game were to end right now, you were able to put this hook up, you were able to go pull Ian off of the door and find External Jade across the way. I still think, unfortunately, especially with the 5-point penalty, that is still going to spell a GG for our friends here. We're going to see Michaela going out the door and, yeah, just going to be securing the kill in the basement.
Very good job. Very, very, very good job on G-Bot's part to not be able to give away that free, to not, go straight to the door to make sure and try to get a pull off of the door, but actually be able to deny and still get that one kill for his team. So very, very good job there. Unfortunate that Nia just kept him a little bit too busy, so wasn't able to apply very much map pressure whatsoever.
Yeah, I would definitely say that Nia was for sure the MVP for the team here, doing a very good job of occupying basically the entirety of 4 gens. Basically almost 5. Well, it was 5 gens as she was going up onto the hook was the last one there. So, yeah, even though obviously they didn't get much done other than that, sometimes when you're the one that's selected to waste the killer's time, you got to do what you got to do. And I would say, task accomplished by Arnia.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Hats off to that Nia player. They kept the nurse busy, kept him. And the thing is, too, is that they kept the nurse interested enough to the point where they didn't recognize, that they needed to leave. Was very, very, intent on getting that Nia down. And sometimes when a killer acts like that, one thing that the survivor can do to buy that team their time is to stay in that killer's proximity and to keep them busy and to make sure that like, oh, you almost had it, a little closer, You
gotta be quicker than that.
Almost had it.
Yeah.
So really, really hats off to that Nia. Very, very good play. Way to put the team on your back and make sure that all 5 gens. I can imagine that voice chat was a lot of screaming of just 2 gens.
Yeah, especially knowing that, like, that's kind of the position that Hex Girls had put themselves into, right? They had put themselves in a little bit of a lead. So then when they come out for trial number 4, all you really need to do at that point is, like you said, just do gens. We don't even need to get anybody out the doors. As long as we get all the gens done, we're Gucci. And we saw that they were able to do just that.
Absolutely. Great job by both teams. It was probably the coolest part about it was just seeing the back and forth with the same exact killers. You hit us with a blight, we'll hit you with a blight. You hit us with a nurse, we'll hit you with a nurse. And, it's very interesting to see, especially when teams go straight head to head to that, because you're giving the same exact killer. So you're going to, hey, this is what we can do to your nurse. This is what we can do to your nurse. You love to see it, and just unfortunate that, wasn't able to, get off of the knee and not recognize that, yes, you needed to get the kill, but, you also needed to protect your generators more because, like you just said, the only thing that Hex Girls needed to do was come in and complete gens. That was the only thing that they needed.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of where it's a tough situation. It's kind of like you got to do what you got to do, and you're just kind of control what you can control. There at the end, you need to get an elimination and make that thing a 3v1 as quick as possible. Because anybody who's played this beautiful game of Dead by Daylight knows how quickly the tide, or at least how much the power struggle changes once it's a 3v1, right? So knowing that you needed the 4K, you have to tunnel the first person out that you can. Unfortunately, Nia just did a very, very good job there with the run. And the team obviously don't want to just say it was Nia. Obviously, the rest of the team needed to make sure that they were very efficient knocking out the 400 seconds of gen work there. But we are going to move into the interrogation room here. It looks like we have got the homie Eternal Jade. It looks like we might need to make sure that they are unmuted. There we go. Eternal Jade, what a game. How are you feeling after 4 trials of purgating all over that temple?
Well, I had a lot of fun. The nerves definitely were getting to me during the Blight game, but in that last game, our our Nia definitely got a lot of work done
Yeah.
running the killer.
Definitely. That's what we were saying. You know, hats off to them, absolutely, and well played during your Blight game. That was very, very entertaining. It was very good to see.
Thank you. I
Now-
was definitely a little nervous. This is kind of a first time for me.
Well, you definitely did good, and I think you also played the nurse round, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
I
so
didn't
that was one of
nurse.
the one of the other homies then.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the thought process coming out on the Blight, knowing after seeing like as far as in the first trial, right, the Blight kind of struggled along with around some of the environment, so you kind of knew what was in front of you, but what was the kind of the thought process heading into the trial?
Well, Blight is really just the killer that I have the most time put into on. He's my favorite. I've been playing him since he dropped, so I figured if I was gonna come in, I was gonna come in on familiar territory.
I like it. I like it. So would this have been your first, as far as I guess you could say, killer performance on as far as in the competitive environment? Like that isn't scrims.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, that was my first time. It's a lot of fun. I really like the different mindset that goes into playing these games, and it's a lot of tactical decisions and, you know, very snap decision making, but it's also pretty stressful.
Speaking of snap decisions, your first loop at the Killer Shack, like as soon as you dropped that, I was just jumping for joy. That was such a smart play on your behalf, and I really just want to make sure I gave you props for that, because that Nia kind of somewhat had you, and you definitely recognized that you were not exactly in a good spot to capitalize. And that was a good play. That was very smart.
Thank you very much, man.
Of course.
So what, as far as heading into there at the end, right? Like you guys had put yourself in a good situation. Was the thought process, hey, we just need to get gens done and that's all? Or was there still like a end goal of, hey, let's try and get 3 or 4 people out here?
Well, we knew we needed really just a 2 out, so we figured we're just gonna do gens as fast as possible, try to play smart, don't get overconfident, just, you know, respect the other player, because it's, you know, they're still a killer, they still have a weapon, they can still,
Right.
they can still, you know, give you a little bit of back pain. So we definitely wanted to show respect to that, but we knew we needed 2 out, so we just played as hard as we could and went for it.
I love it. I love it. And I'm not going to ask what it was, but I'm sure there were some things that as a team you guys could probably take away from preseason week 2 and make sure that you guys are fully ramped up and ready to go for the regular season.
Well, me personally, I know that I need to work on not letting my nerves get to me so much, because it definitely robbed me of some easier hits. But as a team, I think our best bet is to just keep scrimming, keep practicing, keep trying to improve. You know, not let you know, winning go to our heads, of course.
I like it. I like it. So, any last questions from you, Stoney?
Basically, like, you know, really, I don't have a lot of questions, but it's more of, you know, hats off to you, good job, you know, to you and your team as well. And, you know, really, what was that Nia saying the entire time? I'm kind of curious. You know, what was going through Nia's mind? Was it just, you know, I got to keep this person busy, or, you know, during that chase, like, because we had said before, you know, I'm pretty sure that voice chat was just stay on gens, just stay on gens, just stay on gens. I got him.
You're absolutely right. The nurse was just saying, like, communicating where she was going, what the nurse was doing, and we were letting her know what gens we were on, so she didn't chase into us. And
the one thing that I did notice is it seemed like every survivor, when they realized that they were in a, you know, just about to go down situation, was, you know, you guys all did a really good job at making sure that you went to a corner and going to a side of the map that was already done or the gens were blocked. Is that something that you guys have practiced before? Is that like a coordinated effort thing, or?
Yeah, we coordinate that. We play a lot of scrims.
Good job. You guys did very, very well with that. That was kind of a key thing, especially with that nurse, because when she finally did get that down, she was in a corner where she couldn't do anything. So very, very good plays.
Indeed. I feel like I needed to embrace my inner Rambo at least once. Before we get you out of here, external Rambo, or not inner Rambo, inner OG Vader, sorry. Before we get you out of here, though, external Jade, is there anything that you want to say as far as to the supporters of y'all's team, or just the fans of Vigos in general?
Well, I know some of my friends are watching, so Jay and Adam, if you guys are out there, big shout outs to you, and thank pretty much everybody for coming out to watch. I'm having a great time, whether I win or lose. So
Love it. I
That's
love it.
Love
much
it.
it.
Love the mindset, man. Love the attitude. Absolutely.
I mean, all
love
I can
to
do
see
is
it.
get better, right?
Hey, you know what though? I believe that is a very good mindset to have, and you are not wrong, my friend. External Jade, I appreciate you for joining us in the interrogation room today. You have yourself a fantastic rest of your Thursday and a good weekend, all right?
You too, man.
All right, chat. When as far as for us here on Vigo's court, before I get out of here, we want to make sure that we do indeed convict Hex Girls of murder. Okay, now guys, this is Stony Boy's first time on the desk. He did pretty good, right? That wasn't too bad, right, Stony? Pretty easy. That was fun.
No, that was good. I feel like I kind of overtalked you a little bit, but hey, you know, there was a lot of firsts in this here little shenanigans show that we put on here today. So, you know, smoothing out some kinks. It was good to hear. You know, it was really honestly kind of cool to find out that, you know, that was Eternal Jade's, you know, first tournament setting, and you know, did absolutely fantastic for coming out doing the first job. So, you know, you love to see it, and you know, just thank you all very much. I hope you guys, everybody, enjoyed the show.
Yeah, and so that is going to wrap it up for this matchup, but we're not done today here, chat. Okay, we are going to have another matchup. I will be back, I believe, with Shep, if I'm not mistaken, here at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So here in about an hour and a half. Okay, and y'all might know that this is the time where normally OG Vader is asking around and like, I don't know who we're gonna raid, who we gonna raid, chat, but the Judge Q in the house, we've got things under control. All right, we're going to hang out with Justin. Justin does hang out with us quite a bit here with Vigo's Court, a competitive player. But make sure you are back again, chat, tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Hookers versus Deadheads. I promise you are not going to want to miss all the punts we're going to have during that matchup. But we're going to be back here 9 p.m. Eastern time. Y'all have yourselves a very fantastic night. Everyone say goodbye. Bye, Stoney. Say goodbye.
Deuces. Bye.
Anything to change. You just got to give other people a chance to talk. That's
that was my nerves.
no,